to restart fresh on my thing. So it's easier to upload to YouTube later since I don't upload the Final Fantasy XIV sections. Just because those would be the same video every day. Cool. But as you can kind of tell from the music, we are switching over to Sonic Adventure instead of Minecraft. So I lied earlier, and I'm sorry about that. But it happened. I don't think that's actually adjusting. No, it is. Okay. Fresh start. I'm adjusting my audio again so I can hear it better. But I kind of decided to do this because of the second Sonic movie coming out in a little while. You know what? We're going to create a new file because I want to start the game fresh for all of you guys. Or for all of you. Play game. Adventure. Well, Sonic's the only character I can select. So we'll stick with that. I'm actually gonna move you all to over here since this is my screen that has my Xbox hooked up to it. This is gonna take getting used to actually having the screens backwards, but that's okay. Oh, well. Nope, I don't like that angle. Let's see how that works. I remember playing this game when it first came out, when I was like 7. And I remember looking at it and being like, this is so amazing, it looks so real. We're not going to talk about that. Come at me, Chaos. Boom. Off to a good start so far. Haven't taken a single hit. I want to say this is one of the first video games I ever actually beat. I never 100%ed it. And I'm debating trying to 100% it this time, but we'll see. We'll see. Some of the time trials are insane, though. Now, what am I gonna do with you? All right, to Emerald Coast. Stage 1. Rescue Tales, huh? Like, I think the time trial for this one is 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes? And it's like, how are you supposed to do that? Extra life. Oh. Speaking of extra lives. Boom. What's up, Lunacy Phoenix? How you doing? Glad you're able to stop by for a little bit. I haven't played this game in probably a couple years at least, but I had to since the movie was coming out in uh what is it, like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I've never 100% of the game, like got all the emblems, and I don't know if I hate myself enough to try that, but it's kind of tempting. I'm not gonna lie. But we'll see. That's fair. That's fair. I just saw one of the trailers and it just kind of hit my nostalgia though, and I was like, oh, I was originally going to do Sky Factory 3 today, work on my world a little bit more, but I decided to go with this instead. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we gotta go this way. Just grab that real quick. And now we'll head to the Mystic Ruins. Maybe. If we can get up the stairs. For all of its problems that this game has, I still love it. I remember, like, because I played the crap out of this game when I was like 7 or 8 when it came out. So I remember like all the basic places to go for story, but definitely some of the if I decide to go through them, some of the time trials, I will appreciate help because I just remember those being brutal when I was younger. My favorite thing with this fight that I discovered when I was younger, and you probably know it, being a speedrunner for this game, is how you can just spam the first time he falls down. Yep. The fight should be easy. It should not be that easy. Yeah. I even, when I was younger, I still have it actually. I've got the game guide for the OG Dreamcast version. That's got all the information on how to do like the Chow world and everything. Let's not drop the controller. That game guide has seen a lot of wear over the years. That is true. Um, yeah, because he doesn't have any harder mechanics that get introduced or anything like that. So that's fair. That is fair. Nope. Where am I? Where am I? That was lucky. What is my pickup button? Not that. Is it Y? Nope. I also love that no matter how perfectly you set it down on that thing, it still has to do the float up in the air animation. Mine, as you probably saw, is far from mint. It's missing the front cover, it's missing pages, but yeah, I it's one of the few things of Sonic that I actually like book-wise kept from when I was younger. I used to have some of the old comics and everything, but I mean, like I said, I was really young and I didn't know how to take care of stuff. I didn't need to hit that one, but oh well. Yeah, I am. I never actually owned a GameCube, so when Sonic Adventure came to Xbox, I was so excited because my Dreamcast worked like half the time. And I think by the time I finally got Sonic Adventure on Xbox, they had like the $4 DLC to make it the director's cut version. Nice. The fact that you can play as Metal Sonic if you get all of the emblems has tempted me so many times because I feel like that would just be so cool. But there's parts of levels like this where I'm just like, I don't think he has a bomb. Uh-oh. That you can't play as Metal Sonic? Yeah, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for this bombshell. I'm also trying to remember. I know I'm supposed to go to the casino. Oh, I remember now. I got to get the Lightspeed shoes. So I got a world record holder. We're gonna ignore the fact that you said until last December, but uh, watching me stream. Oh no, that's a lot of pressure. Speedrun.com. You know what? I'm gonna write that down. Is your because I will check that out later for sure. That's pretty cool. That is very awesome. Username is same on there too. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now that we have that, we can also get the... If I can get off the pole. Oh, there's more? Is this like an OxyClean commercial? But wait, there's more. No! What? Okay, well, while I troubleshoot this, we'll switch back to here. Come on. Are you also the Sonic Adventure 2 speedrun holder? Why did it... Because I disconnected from Xbox a while ago. Come on. Dang. That's awesome. That's really cool. Now the pressure's really on to perform at a somewhat decent level. Come on, Xbox, don't be dumb. $2 and 34 minutes and 56 seconds is your Xbox and PlayStation 3. Nice. And on GameCube, it's 2 hours, 31 minutes, 22 seconds, and 760 milliseconds. That's insane. Okay. Oh, are we connecting again? Are we finally going to connect back to Xbox Live? Still unavailable. That would be pretty cool. I feel like that would go for quite a bit. Okay. You know what? Since you won't connect there, let's see if this will work. I don't like doing it this way, but no, mine's all Wi-Fi. Yeah. Yeah. But I've done it before where I hotspot my phone. Actually, maybe I should check and make sure that it's not an Xbox issue. Xbox Live issue. Xbox. Nope. Everything's green on their end, so this is entirely on my end. Okay. I get that. Unfortunately, with my location, we get crappy internet no matter what. But the where our modem is and our router is not the same room as the office. So that's always fun. But we're coming back. No, but I will write it down to look into it. Because if that can help issues, I will absolutely. Okay. Back to Sonic. I'm gonna faceplant into that police car every time if it does it again. Okay, back to this. It's gonna keep walking into walls. This is why I can't ever try and do speedruns. I will get hung up on walls. I will get hung up on lampposts. The This level used to be a nightmare for me when I was younger. Darn. Is it 3 or 500 rings that you need to get? $400 rings. So I was wrong no matter what. Oh, we'll miss that one. That's fine. Alright, now let's not screw this up because I know there's traps in these. Yep. Alright, well, we're over halfway there. There's not a reason in particular. I went all the way back, didn't I? I just got turned around. That might just be something I need to troubleshoot through my card. My capture card. Ow. Whoops. Did that make there be any sound? Because that certainly made it louder in my headphones. Yeah, my bad, Matt. I'm sorry. Okay, oh, that's cool. I might actually really look into that. See if that helps, I mean, it's going to help my issues. Okay, so is the sound level good now, or is it too loud for the video game, or for the game? Okay, it's pretty quiet for you. Okay. How is that? Or is it still too quiet? Nothing changed.
Better get going.
What about there? Okay. Cool. I appreciate you helping me figure that out. Because that would have been... I can't play looking at that screen. Gotta switch back to this one. Yeah, I appreciate the help a lot with that. try it. There we go. Let's go back to the sewers. Yeah, this is the first time I've streamed anything from my capture card in a long time. Is that the really, really wide one? All I've heard was from my brother-in-law, and because he said one of his coworkers bought it, and that it's pretty ridiculous, actually. Ooh, I'm lucky I had the shield there. 21/9 ratio. Dang. That's insane. Meanwhile, I'm still playing on like my 3-year-old double monitors I have. There we go.
Yeah, not bad.
So there's no way to skip cutscenes, right? So like your speedruns include watching all the cutscenes?
Yeah. Hey. Oh no, the Chaos Emerald.
Oh no, you don't!
Oh jeez. Hey man.
Not that the cutscenes are super long, but still.
Oh man, what happened to that emerald we just had?
I guess Eggman's got one of them, but the other one's safe. That guy must be desperate.
That means his 2 to our 1, and that's not good. Come on, Sonic, we need to get busy.
Random throwing in of Cream the Rabbit. Alright, Ice Stone. To the Mystic Ruins. Dang. That is crazy. About the only thing I play on PC right now, because I prefer consoles. I'm not one of those, what's my jump button? I forgot my jump button. I'm not one of those people that are like, PC master race, PC's the best way to go. Exactly, Matt. I prefer console, but I play Final Fantasy XIV on PC. And Minecraft, because I like playing modded Minecraft. I imagine early on this level must have been a pain to learn how to speedrun. Whoops. Which sound? The collection of the rings? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Matt, for taking care of that. Color grading accuracy. Fast as fuck. That's insane.
Be careful not to fall off.
170 hertz. Dang. What just happened there?
Panel to jump. It may even help guide your way.
Because I feel like this part would suck trying to do like clean on a speed run. Really? Do you have any? Do you have a YouTube channel or anything like that? I just feel like for me this would be my nightmare. Okay, that's cool. I will look there then. Just not even to like
Yeah, not bad.
get insanely good, but maybe to be able to do some of the speed trials for this game, just to get all of the emblems. Because I would assume if you're speed running every single story within like 2.5 hours, I think it was what I saw, that you're probably hitting all the levels speed trials. So
What's up, Knuckles? Something bugging you? No time for games, Sonic. Give me the emeralds you have, right now. What? Let's
my
just see you take
favorite
it.
Sonic character, Knuckles.
Oh no. Oh no. Give it your. Oh no.
Oh no! The Chaos Emeralds!
Like taking candy.
Knuckles always gets tricked into working for Eggman.
That's a Chaos Emerald. That's right, fool! You made it all too easy! You practically gave them to me!
Hold it right there, creep! You can't get away with this!
For me, just from like a lore standpoint,
Don't tell me Eggman
I
tricked you
really
again.
wish we got to see what what Chaos 3 and Chaos 5 looked like.
Now I have 4 lovely emeralds! Chaos!
Honestly, I'm pretty excited for the movie too. I know it's gonna be cheesy.
These are for you,
Oh.
my friend!
I'll think about it. For sure, I appreciate the offer.
Man, no one ever cuts us any slack.
Mostly because I just don't know if speedrunning's my thing. Ooh, buddy. Okay, here we go. I need to be able to see. Get out of the water. Oh yeah, this one. So you've only been doing speedrunning like this for 2 years? That's insane. Because I feel like a lot of time when you hear of somebody who's been doing speedrunning, especially people who hold records, and like that is that is their game that they have been doing that for since they came out of the womb. Why? There we go.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Half blue balls. Indeed. I did like how when you play the different stories for all of the characters in this game,
Behold
the
what
perspective of like who is the hero changes and some of the like dialogue changes, and I thought that was a cool
until we meet again, my friend.
mechanic growing up.
Hey, we can't let him get away! Let's get to my workshop and we'll take the tornado!
Yeah.
You guys go.
Uh,
I have some unfinished
I'm kind of in the
business to
same
take
boat.
care of.
I don't remember how old I was when the game came out, but when the game released, that's when I started playing it. And I'm going on 29 now. And joke, there I don't think there's any achievements directly associated with like. Oh, this is not where I need to go. I need to go over to Tails' workshop. Directly associated with high scores per level kind of thing, but there is an achievement for getting all of the emblems, and one of the emblems
Wait here for a second.
is for everyone is a time trial for their levels. But like on Xbox, oh, apparently there is a way to skip cutscenes. Come on. Whoops. Gotta remember how this works. And I know there's a way to get in Sand Hill as Sonic after you actually do it as part of the story. I've never been able to make the jump. That's top left. I know my directions. That's fair. I also always just... God. You know, we might just do that. I say as I immediately leave that corner of the screen. I just like locking on to everything, bro. If I don't beat it this time, we'll do that. I don't want to talk about it. Honestly, like even in my younger years, I don't think I ever did this bad. Really?
We did it!
Way to go, Tails!
I feel like the game guide lied to me then. Maybe they fixed it, or maybe they changed it that way to the director's cut version because people couldn't do it in the original. Because on the Dreamcast, you had to use the slope outside of the
Tails?
cave so you could hit the switch.
Tails! You're not who I'm looking for. Oh, I wonder if he's okay.
Yeah, it's time to go on a date.
Sonic, wait up! Long time no see!
Amy.
Or at least what half of the group considers a
What's
date.
wrong with you anyway? Listen, this birdie seems to be in trouble, so you need to be his bodyguard for a while.
You must be kidding.
Right?
If you don't, we're just gonna tag along anyway.
You gotta get out of there, Sonic. You gotta be quicker. There we go. now to probably one of my least favorite stages of the game.
Ah, look! Eggman's robot's on the loose!
No problem. He's just a chunk of cheesy hardware.
Whoa!
Oh, now what? Huh?
Look here! It says, shoot couples get in free! Let's go!
Amy! Wait!
Don't do it, Sonic.
Oh,
Don't do it.
man. That girl is such a pain.
Okay, we'll give that a go. This is things I never knew. What's the acceleration button? A. Please get some rings. Ow. Ow. That is very helpful advice, actually. So I have to maintain a lot of rings? Well, I will say off of what you've already told me that this part is a lot easier than it used to be for me. That is the smoothest that section has ever been, so thank you for that advice. I'm really glad you stopped by. The thing is, Joke, I don't know if you can dump someone if you're not dating them. No! Why did I do that? Yeah, I guess you could ghost her. But Sonic's too nice to do that. I should have just done that jump. That was unfortunate. Or was I supposed to go that way? I don't feel like I was. I was? Okay. Jump on top of it, please.
Yeah, not bad.
I thought I was doing semi-decent on time for that one.
Oh, shoot.
No, I was
I've
half
lost
a minute
Amy.
late.
I bet that robot hauled butt after her. I'd better catch her before it does.
Okay. Wait, that is the exit. I don't want to go back into Twinkle Park. Perfect. I mean, they had to censor it. This game is like for children. But also it's Sonic. We all know Sonic swears all the time when he's not on camera. Oh, miss those shoes. And a ton of rings. Yeah, I'm willing to learn real quick. Alright. Apparently I can't talk and try to make jumps at the same time. Well, that's a shame. That's our first life that we've lost. I missed it again. We got that one. Okay, well at least we didn't die that time. But it was the same exact mistake. I'm playing with an Xbox One, Xbox One controller, Xbox Series S controller. Well, picked up a life just to waste it. Don't know how we managed to miss that. Light speed shoes. Not light speed shoes, just fast shoes. I forget what they're actually called.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, not bad.
Next up, I think we have Red Mountain. Back to Mystic Ruins we go. I'm glad you're enjoying it. because I am enjoying playing it.
Amy? Oh man, where can she be?
Ah! Sonic! Help!
I'll cut him off at the Mystic Ruins.
Dash launchers, loops, or narrow walkways. Kinda like that.
Let me go, you hunk of junk! I mean it!
Hey there, Bolt Brain! You better give Amy to me or I'll squash ya! Hey, what's happening here?
An eclipse.
Stop!
I don't know if I can go faster, but we'll try.
Shoot! I've lost her again!
Oh, that's an edge. Preferably, let's not die and fall off while practicing technique.
This is the ancient light. Try the light speed dash toward the enemy. With this, you can now do the light speed attack.
I was gonna say let's try it here, but I feel like this is all narrow walkways or turns. Chase the egg carrier. Or don't grab the launcher Sonic, it's fine. No. Why can't I just... There we go. Okay. That's fair, but I mean, you saw me with a narrow walkway on, oh! Speed highway, and we almost died twice. Why can't my fingers do this right? That's fair. But I also felt safe there because there was nowhere I could fall off. And then I felt like my fingers were like, hey, you want us to hit different buttons? Nah, we're gonna hit the same ones over and over again. How did that happen? God. Boom. I always felt so cool coming off that rocket and landing right on top of that. Only thing that would make it better if Sonic could do a
Yeah, not bad.
superhero landing.
Hey,
Okay.
Sonic!
I also love how
I'm glad you're okay.
this tornado can change form. First time playing it when it does that in this Sky Chase, I was just blown away.
Ready to roll, champ? Let's go!
Roger!
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Tails is your favorite. Whenever my cousins and I played Sonic, we always forced my littlest cousin to be Tails. Because my other cousin was Sonic, I was Knuckles because Knuckles was cool. And we didn't want to have a second Sonic, so we made my little cousin be Tails. I mean, in all fairness, Tails is a really cool character now that I'm older. Tails is the one that makes the airplanes and all of like the electronics and stuff. Oh, I walked right into that. Flew right into both of those. Get it, get it, get it. There we go.
Haha! So far, so good!
Hope you know what you're doing.
You bet! Watch this! Transforming now! Whoa! Let's do
That's true. Tails can indeed fly and doesn't need an airplane to do it. That's the first time I ever noticed that claw right there. As long as you have more than 1 HP left, which I do, line up central with the cannon, stay still, and just spam. I can kill it in 1 cycle. Okay. That's cool. I appreciate that bit of advice too. That's... I always came close, but I always dodged out of the way.
Alrighty, we're in.
And I usually would kill it as it was opening up the second time.
Whoops. I forgot something.
What's that?
Of course you did,
There's
Tails.
no landing gear in this mode.
What? Wow, this thing is really huge.
No time to gawk now. We need to find Amy.
Indeed.
You're right, my friend. So here we go.
Facial expressions is amazing. Missed that jump.
Don't get too many ideas, you fools! You haven't seen the power this vessel really has! Get a load of this!
Oh, wow! It's changed shape. Did you see that?
Flying battery, is that
Darn. This
from
makes it harder for us to get to the bridge.
I hate it when he doesn't listen.
OG Sonic?
I bet you weren't expecting
No. That's from Sonic and
the only
Knuckles.
way you can get
Sonic
to
3.
me is through the sky deck. Find out if you can
Okay.
figure this one out.
Oh yeah? Well, I'll show you. Bring it on.
Right, I was trying to remember which game it was from. The only, like, OG...
This must be the way to the sky deck.
No kidding. The only OG Sonic, like, Genesis game I ever beat was the second one. And the first time I ever... No, it was the first one. I never beat the second one. I made it to the final boss when you fight the giant robot Eggman, and couldn't figure it out. Other than that, it's the first Sonic game, and the first time I beat it was actually on my iPad Mini when it released for that. But that was entirely because you could save scum it. Could have done that. We'll just wait for it to go around. In general, I just loved a lot of the Sonic Adventures music. The Open Your Heart is one of my favorite songs, especially to work out to, even though I haven't worked out in far too long. Alright, we're gonna miss those 10 rings, it's fine. Ooh. Come on. Nice. It's pretty cool that you play guitar. I used to play guitar. I never got crazy good at it, but it was my favorite instrument that I was learning. Chemical Plant Zone is such a good song, though. There's a person on YouTube, Smooth McGroove, who I follow, and I don't know if he's actually posted in a while, but I love his acapella work that he does, and one of my favorite ones that I first saw of his was Chemical Plant.
Winds will blow you off course. When the ship increases speed, hang on to something.
It's been so long since I played, I don't remember the difference, but I will take your word for it. Get off of that one. Oh! Whew. No! Why did I do that? Because it seemed like a good idea at the time. And then we're just going to miss the jump. It's fine. It is so good. And I like Sonic's theme from this game so much better than his theme from Sonic Adventure 2. No, 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 no. Oh, I have no doubt. Okay. Somehow we glitched through the floor there. It was not intentional, but I'm gonna accept it. Okay. But while
Yeah,
this
not
next
bad.
little cutscene plays for everybody, I'm gonna go to the bathroom super quick. I'll be right back.
Is that it?
It might be, but let's check out the bridge.
Better get going. Better get going.
Honestly, thought the cutscene was a little longer than like a single line.
Ha! They're too late.
Not the birdie! A Chaos Emerald! No way!
Be gone, all of you. This is all I really need. Gamma!
Gamma was one of my favorite characters from this game. I really liked how he, it's just his whole story.
Get rid of these pests. Show them what you've got. Aye, aye, sir.
Growing feelings and all of that.
Disappoint me, or else. Resistance is.
I believe it. It reminded me a long time of, like, musically, it reminded me some of Avenged Sevenfold when I was growing up.
Step aside, Amy! Out of my way!
No! This robot is my friend! He helps me! Don't hurt him!
Okay. Whatever you say. You must have your reasons.
Hey, this ship is losing altitude!
I think the most technically
Hurry, Tibbs! Take Amy
challenging
and
song
Dad.
I ever learned,
Well, what about you?
and I use learn very loosely,
Automatic commission.
was I had learned how to play a good chunk of 6 by All That Remains, and that song made me so tired.
If I'm to continue, I need to change this ship back to its original shape. There must be a switch somewhere on the
Yup.
bridge. I've got to find it now.
There we go. I think probably one of the most challenging songs I can play now, and it's not really that challenging.
Emergency alert has been canceled.
I learned the opening riff to Unholy Confessions. I have the tab books for their self-titled and for Nightmare, but I never really learned any of their stuff. Well, I just feel like if you played guitar and you liked metal music, you had to know how to play the intro to Unholy Confessions. Just like you had to know how to play the opening of Iron Man and things like that. But probably the song that I can play now that's probably the most technical is Your Betrayal by Bullet for My Valentine. I actually performed that live once with a
Not again.
band. It was the one show we did.
Chaos. Could this
And
be the same beast?
then there's a couple Census Fail songs that I really enjoy playing. Rum is for drinking, not for burning, and Bite to break skin.
Froggy? I must say Froggy!
If he's your friend, I'll help you. Just leave it to me.
Now I have 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. There's only one more left to find. I even found Chaos's missing tail.
You won't get away with it, you madman.
I will. You're no match for Chaos, even though he's not perfected yet. Okay, Chaos. Destroy them all immediately.
Speaking of Avenged Sevenfold songs, I just remembered I did learn how to play most of Afterlife.
I can't believe this.
But yeah, no, the solo never happened. That was never going to happen. Why? Get out. Pick up a room, just one. No. You can throw the things at his mouth, right? And that'll freeze him? We're gonna find out. I feel like that was a thing.
No way.
That was more of a setting it down instead of throwing it.
No way. I can't believe this.
Get the ring.
No way. I can't believe this.
Hey, I'll play with
Alright,
you
that was a
some
little bit
other
more of a
time.
struggle than I would have liked. But it was fun. Not ready to die. What
No way. I can't believe this.
what album of theirs was that one off of?
Sonic! Hey there, Knuckles. Glad you finally made it. I thought you got lost or something.
Until we meet again, Sonic.
Stop! Come back here!
Because if it was after Nightmare, I haven't really listened to them all that much since then. And not for any real reason beyond I just forgot to pick up the albums kind of thing.
I hate Eggman. Where's this?
Ah, so it might not have even been on like an actual album. It might have just been like on like the Call of Duty album. Does Call of Duty have
That light.
soundtracks?
I think it's trying to show me something.
I'll look it up though. Not ready to die. Okay. Before we go there real quick. That wasn't where I wanted to go. I wish I had a little mini map. Oh. Not what I was looking for, but I'll take it. Okay, there's Big's hut. I think I went the wrong direction. Okay, so there's the temple. Here's the edge. Okay. Let's go this way. I'm not trying to get back to the temple at the moment. Here we go. So yeah, apparently as Sonic, you're supposed to be able to use this slope to like speed off of and hit the switch. How is beyond me. Yeah, I don't know. That's where you dig a Knuckles for something. Nice. I felt that way with after Guitar Hero 3 came out, because once you get to Through the Fire and Flames, you had to try to learn it, and then you find out that that whole intro isn't even guitar anyway. But when it gets to the fast picking part, there's a pretty big stretch. One of my favorite things I ever did learn on guitar, and I couldn't play it anymore without finding the tab again and practicing it. What is going on? Pick up a ring. Because I used to subscribe to Guitar World when I was in like middle school, high school at the time. And one of the Guitar Worlds during that time had a tab for The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And I learned how to play the intro. And I felt so cool. That was the wrong way. Yep. It's super fun to just play that part too. This was one of my favorite levels from this game. Like, specifically for this part, right here where you're running on the outside, I just felt like that looked so cool. And then we get into here, and this is probably my least favorite part. I'm assuming, like, if you're going for a speed run on this, you kind of got to do it not blind, because there's this, you can see, but you're not really stopping to get the mirrors and the lights. What am I doing? Why did I do that? I knew what I had to do there, and I just decided not to.
Use the mirror to help guide you.
Cliffs of Dover. I remember that song. I never learned how to play it, but I remember it from, I think it was on the first Guitar Hero. And I was just like, this is insane. I really need to go back and like listen to older guitarists. And then I did, and it greatly improved my appreciation of a lot of music. It was Guitar Hero 3? What? He had one on the first game, though, I think. Wasn't it like Layla is what I'm thinking of, maybe? Okay. I also love this part because it's Indiana Jones. That was worth one ring. Oh. My bad. My bad. You are right. We'll just let my musical ignorance shine. It's fine. No! Okay, well. Don't land on that switch. There we go. I did the exact same thing right there. I mean, I guess it's not that bad since the checkpoint was right there, but... There we go. Sinister Gates for sure is up there. Huge fan of Zakk Wylde. And, I'm completely forgetting his name. He was the guitarist for Ozzy before Zakk Wylde, and he's the one that did Crazy Train. Oh, what was his name? Randy Rhoads, yeah. I'm sitting here and I was like, Randy Johnson? No, that's the baseball player that killed a bird when he hit one with a pitch.
A mural.
Yeah, Randy Rhoads. But also, if you listen to Trivium, both of their guitarists are insane. I love them.
What's this place? Where am I? This is really weird.
You're in a vision, Sonic.
Why? Why did this have to happen?
Nice. That's a good song. They're one where I've learned like different riffs from some of their songs. Like I learned the like pre-chorus riff to Ascendancy. That's fair. When I was before I had way too many guitars,
What was
I
that all
always
about?
did drop D instead of drop C because I didn't
I
want to
don't
have
think
to
I'm dreaming here.
tune and everything. But once I have one that I always have set up in standard, one in drop D and one in drop C.
What's he doing here? Oh,
I
never
learned how to
mind.
play
This time
Down
I'll
from
get
the
him
Sky.
good.
That's like the only full song theirs that I learned how to play. Where am I going? I know where I'm going. I don't know why I chose to go that way instead of the super easy way. This was one of the coolest like little things that I loved. Seeing the two different Metal Sonics in their tubes. Where is it? Is it not? Oh, it's not down here. You know, I don't think I've ever played standard tuning drop down. Oh, come on. Wait. Yes. I can figure out puzzles. But I would like the fast password for the door, absolutely. One on the far left, 6 and right. Okay. Two, three, 4, 5. Wait. Oh, okay. So you basically hit the 4 middle buttons in order from left to right. I think I'll be able to remember that. Instead, I came in and just went to the completely other side.
Final phase. Level 2 isolation wall open.
Ooh. Almost just walked right off. Right? One of my favorite parts of this whole game is coming up in a second. Because I'm weird. And I dislike spiders a lot, but I loved how this elevator reminds me of a spider. And it's still one of my favorite elevators in a video game. I know, it's only got 4 legs, but still.
Emergency. Emergency. Dispose of any intruders. Emergency. Emergency. Dispose of any intruders. Emergency. Emergency. Dispose of any intruders.
I can honestly say I've never died like that until right now. I don't know enough about getting different tones on guitars. I just know that when I wanted to play heavy, I had a death metal distortion pedal, and one of its settings was like one of like the settings that came in. What? Hold on. Why am I just gonna continue to get bitch slapped? That it had in the thing was your usual like scooped mids, high bass, high treble for like all the old school heavy metal music, and that is what I stuck with. That is the truth, apparently. People love to trash this game, and it definitely has its issues.
Yeah, not bad.
But it holds a special place in my heart, and it's always going to hold a special place in my heart. Let's see if Egg Viper gives me as much trouble as it used to. That sucks. Was it black and like it actually like said death metal on it? Because it might have been like the same one that I had. I forget. I think it was made by Boss. I just felt so cool when I got it.
Hold it right there, Eggman.
Because before I really learned how to play guitar and I just had one that was messing around on it, I felt like distortion made everything sound way better.
a load of this. Get a load of this. See if you can make it through here, Sonic.
Yeah, Digitech. That's who it was.
Get a load of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I had the death metal one by Digitech. I just had to see the name to remember.
See if you can make it through here, Sonic.
And I think I went with the death metal by Digitech
Get a load of this.
because it was cheaper. It was like the cheaper alternative.
See if you can make it through here, Sonic. Get a load of this. Get a load of this. It's no use. Give up.
Oh, that was almost bad. I thought I was going over the edge.
See if you can make it through here, Sonic. Get a load of this. Get a load of this. It's no use. No way. I can't believe this.
Every time.
All systems, full power.
I had a Line 6 Spider 4 amp, and this was when I was like in college, and I didn't know any better because I was dumb and I had to learn the hard way. And I worked at a pizza joint, and I had the speaker in my back seat, and it got stolen out of my back seat.
Watch out! He's up to something.
Attacked too fast and I was too low. Okay. No! You don't. Ha! I'll try to remember that the next time I do this fight.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Thank you. I'm glad I was able to do that on the first try and we didn't have to redo it. There are some fights that I did when I was a kid, especially like the old school Genesis games, where I play them now and I'm like, why is this so hard? And that is one of those fights for me. Oh yeah, no, the thing sounded awful in front of amps too. But I just felt so cool with it because it said death metal. And it was a good distortion pedal. Well, in the time it took me to go through one story, you would probably be almost done with the game. It was unfortunate. The thing is, though, they never even, Alright, let's do Biggs. I was going to say that this is probably a good stopping point, because I don't think I'll be able to, do another story before I normally need to log off anyway. But 25 minutes is about the, exact amount of time that I have. So yeah, as soon as this is over, we'll do that. The thing is, they took the speaker. They didn't take the amp head. That's what blew my mind. And I mean, I was fine with it because the amp head cost about twice as much as the speaker itself did, but still. Yeah. They just took the giant speaker, not the amp head. Right? And I don't know if like they just if somebody was showing up and they got spooked or something, obviously, because I wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, at the time, 17-year-old me was happy. Oh no, I forget the term, but isn't it like if it has, I think it was a half cab with the separate amp? I don't remember. Like I said, it's been probably close to a decade. Yeah, it was the head and the cab. It's been close to a decade since I really played guitar. I have one like I'll occasionally dink around on. I still can play the intro and I can play most of Welcome Home except for the solo. That was a fun one to learn. 4 speakers. That I remember, because they had the 2 bottom ones that were straight up and down, and then the top 2 kind of slanted back a little bit. Yep. Because I remember walking into the store and they had it like on display, and at the time, like, that's what everything in Guitar World was advertising for, so I was like, that is what I want. Just got my tax return. Let's do this.
Select your character.
Right now, what I mostly play is I have I don't remember the exact name of it. It's an Epiphone, and it was something that they released. I think it was an Epiphone EX something. It's a Explorer, and it had EMG pickups. Prophecy, I think mine's the Futura because mine doesn't have the whammy bar. But it's like this beautiful red finish. And then My other one is I have a Jackson Flying V. Randy Rhoads Flying V. Not his signature brand, but like the kind that he always used. So it's like the checkmark shape, sort of. And then I have another Epiphone regular Flying V. That's fair. Again, I got it with the EMGs because that's what every metal guitarist I was listening to at the time, like they always talked about their EMG 81 and 85s.
Hey, wait a minute! You swallowed my lucky charm!
I was a very impressionable
Come back here!
child.
What's wrong with you? Something's not right. We've always been friends. For years.
I think the only Ibanez I have is I have a 7-string Ibanez that I bought from one of my sister's friend's brothers. And it's purple. It's ugly, but it's 7 strings.
Come out wherever you are. Oh,
What I want really badly right now
Polly won't help me anyway.
is I want to get a Les Paul. Doesn't even have to be like a legit Gibson or Epiphone Les Paul. Like, I'd be fine with anything. I just love the Les Paul shape. Okay, so I know our first thing is in Emerald Coast. No. It's in Twinkle Park. Do I need to pick up any of his lures beforehand? Isn't there one down here? Nice. Manhole and lift the car. I will be honest, I'm not super familiar with Ibanez guitars. I also want a Fender Telecaster so bad.
Doggy, there you are. Wait, don't run away. What you doing?
My first guitar I ever got was a Christmas present,
What's wrong?
and it was one of those Squire Stratocasters. Fair play. Well, we picked one up anyway. I think there's something I need to do before I go that way, isn't there? Or am I just dumb? Nope, that was the way I was supposed to go. We're just gonna ignore everything I just did. That's right, because you can't just go up the thing to get into Twinkle Park.
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
That's because Biggs, it's his second and third, whatchamacallem. Alright, so where are you at, Froggy? There you are. Toys R Us had some pretty good, you know, entry-level guitars, so... Come on, Froggy. Nope, that's not the right button combination. You know what? I remember there being like a button that you press. You get away. No, you stop that. I don't. Go ahead and explain one to me. That was not it either. Now is when it's actually feeling like the first time I played this. When I didn't know how to...
Something's biting.
I'm pressing the wrong button. First off. We lost a life. Okay, that's what I think I was doing when Froggy was on itself. Boom. Okay, so I got that part down.
Something's biting. I got a fish.
Yeah, come on, Froggy.
Something's biting. Oh, now what
Okay.
am I gonna do?
I knew there was something that I had learned
Not too bad.
first time I played through this because I had so much trouble with it. And I knew there was a way to like instantly
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
get him to hook. I soak next. There's Cream again. I don't know why they added just the terrible, like, flat. Oh, that's right. This is why I can't be a speedrunner. I would do stuff like this. It's right there. My biggest aversion actually to speedrunning is my frustration level skyrockets playing games sometimes. And I would hate to be... It wouldn't bother me so much if I was like early into a run and made a mistake and had to reset, but like being at the end of one would get me.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
right by spawn on ground floor, far left of the room, under the cracked ice.
You've discovered the life belt. It keeps you afloat when you're in water. To swim underwater, press the jump button when afloat.
Okay, so far left. Did you mean far right, like over here? Yeah. Okay, come on. Nope. Okay, that's the movement stick. I had to remember which one was the movement stick. I had forgotten. Come on, Froggy. Come on.
Something's biting.
There we go. Look at that. I really appreciate the help. I would have been struggling for a while trying to remember what the buttons were. Alright, now we go to Emerald Coast because the last level is on the egg carrier. And then your boss fight with... That's the wrong direction. With what's his bucket? Chaos 6 is really just fishing Froggy out of him. I forgot about this cutscene.
Oh no, he's got my little buddy. Whoa! Ooh. Glad I found you.
Oops!
Oh, now what am I gonna do?
We just go straight to Emerald Coast, right? Like there's nothing in back here that we have to do, is there? Okay. Surface of the water for the remaining levels, just don't get too close. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And to the left of the massive pillar. Oh, and you had said something earlier about your first guitar. Hold on, let me go back to that one. Oh yeah, it was the Jacksville Strat from Toys R Us. I miss that store. There's Sonic. When I got my guitar, my cousin also got a. Okay. Alright, well, I'm gonna take care of you real quick because you are annoying me. There's Froggy. Okay. All of them are annoying me, actually.
Something's biting. Froggy.
Look at that. Oh, we're still playing Sonic though, but we're playing as Big, Matt.
Not too
And
bad.
Lunacy Phoenix is helping me. I am learning the ways of speedrunning Big's thing. Big story.
Froggy?
By catching Froggy quickly.
Uh-oh. No! Hold on there! Come back, please! Give me my friend back! I'm begging you, please!
I feel like the timelines for all these stories is very wonky and very loose with where they overlap.
Froggy? This place doesn't look familiar to me at all. Smells like Froggy's around somewhere. Think I'll see what's behind this door.
Jump. There we go. For half a second, I thought I crashed when the screen went black.
There's Froggy. Looks like he needs my help.
Okay.
This must be the emergency drainage switch.
Where you at, Froggy? There you are.
Something's biting. Froggy.
Boom. Alright. Still have that strat. It's plays pretty rough.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Right? I feel like there's just so much you could do actually with like those old starter guitars. Like sure, they don't necessarily have the greatest sound,
Get at last, huh?
but and maybe it's also just that they're for like me, mine's so full of nostalgia because I still have mine too. I let a friend borrow it for like 2 years because she wanted to learn guitar and I was going to teach her, and I never did. But she's one of my best friends, and I got it back from her, and the thing was just like the day I gave it to her.
Wow. Is it all right for me to be here?
Thank you, Lunacy Phoenix, for the follow. I really appreciate it.
Trust me? So these are the 7 emeralds.
I also appreciate everything else you've been doing this stream with helping me and trying to teach me the ways of playing this game faster. And yeah, SevTech is hard. No worries, don't stress it at all. I think, Matt, when I played SevTech, I had gotten to whatever age the first age is after age 0, and I died. And I felt like it set me back a lot, and then I never touched the mod again for, well, ever.
The controller itself. Could this be the emerald that controls the 7 chaos?
Froggy? I don't like the looks of this place. If something happens now, there's no point to my rescuing you. I don't know who.
A start's a start, though, especially in SevTech.
We better get going, buddy.
Emergency alert has been canceled. Resuming monorail operations.
Cool. Oh, I gotta take the monorail, don't I? My biggest complaint with early SevTech, though, is the lack of storage options. Because storage is one of those things in Minecraft that I get super OCD about. I go. I really thought that was going to get me up there. I know in early SevTech you can make, I don't even know what they're called, like they're called storage crates or something. But essentially they're a box with a lid, and it holds, I think, 12 items. Hello, Chaos 4.
So, I see you're trying to escape. I'm right on time. Chaos, grab him. Get that frog.
I will admit, it took me longer than I'm proud to admit to realize that the glowing red thing in Chaos's head was his brain. I just assumed glowing red thing means weak point. Alright, but to be fair, a world record is pretty awesome. I can't even like argue with that point though. That's fair.
Unbelievable! Look what happened! Chaos has transformed again!
Uh-oh. Gotta go! Froggy? I'll save you! Don't worry, Pally!
So, he's your friend, eh? No sweat. I'll get him back. Watch me.
Careful, Froggy! Don't worry! We'll get you back!
Sonic's line is so much cooler in Big Story than his own story. Sonic Story. If he's your friend, I'll help you. Big Story. No sweat, we got this.
Aim for the frog and cast your lure.
Oh, come on. Why? Oh. There we go. That, unfortunately, is also fair.
I won't let them take you away again.
Go on and get out of here. I'll do the rest.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Come, little buddy. Time to get in the
But
mud.
I greatly appreciate you helping me beat Biggs' story, and you said 25 minutes, and I actually think you got me through it maybe a little bit quicker. I don't remember exactly what time we started with Big, but
Maybe we could use this. Did
I appreciate
know
all the
you
tips you've given me. I'm
could
definitely going to be practicing that XB
I'll give you a
thing for
try
Sonic,
anyway.
because I think that'll help a ton with trying to get some of his speed trials. Right? Straight up steal an airplane. And I might have to give an honest attempt at getting all of the emblems and doing all the trials for this one now. So since things are going to be winding down a little bit, and I'm going to be logging off as soon as this is over, I will be back on tomorrow about 9:30 a.m. Pacific time till roughly around the same time as it is today. Probably not going to play Sonic. I usually start every stream playing Final Fantasy XIV just so I can get all my dailies out of the way. And then once that's done, I move into... Tomorrow I'm going to move into Final Fantasy VIII's all playthrough, or all achievements playthrough that I have going on. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. And having a good time. Thank you again, Lunacy, for the follow and for everything you did during Sonic. And I hope to see everybody later. We'll probably get back into Sonic specifically. I think we'll probably either Monday or Tuesday. I think that seems fair enough, yeah. Let me... switch which input this is. Speedrun.com. Do you have a preference for which one I look at? Whether it's GameCube or let's do your world record one. What am I saying? You already said that. Use your 2 hour 35-minute run? Okay. No. That's fine. Oh, I know why I don't have audio. Did that fix it? There we go. I mean, that's already insane. Honestly, like, never thought to, like, spin and then jump into it before I'm ready. Gotcha. That is insane how quick that movement is. That's like just whole chunks of the level that you just passed through. What is this? Honestly. And like, I knew my times were nothing, but like I still felt like I was at least somewhat close to things. But good lord, this is that doesn't kill you?
I thought I was fucked.
That's fair.
I don't know how I saved that, but I will take it.
Yeah, I think I just heard your a little bit of freak out over it. That was a freaking minute and 34 seconds? Isn't like the time trial for that 2.5? No, 2 minutes, but still, that's 30 seconds faster? Good lord, that's insane. Alright, I gotta see how you do Windy Valley. I remember playing the game in other languages when I was younger. That's still cool though. right, let's see this.
Okay. One being caught. Really smoothly.
I wouldn't have even thought to like do it that way.
Usually it's just run.
Like, I thought I was being quick by landing on that starting platform and jumping over the railing.
You on the rocket, Sonic.
I know those feelings when you're trying to
Are you trying to?
get it in like any game where you're like, just please, just do the thing, just do. Yeah. What? And so like some of those parts you were having to change camera modes, right? Like I think that's what I saw. That's insane. All right, we'll wait and we'll go through casino then. Thanks. I mean that alone probably saves or shaves off 4 or 5 seconds of menu scrolling.
Yeah, not exactly when I think.
You know, I remember Dreamcast does not have the free cam. So far, it kind of seems like my general strategy for casino is roughly correct.
That bit quicker than normal. Again, making sense.
Yeah, honestly, like with how close we are to Ice Cap, we might as well just wait through that one too. But then I'm gonna have to finish the rest of this later. But I mean, with how fast you're going, like that covers a lot of my early curious levels. So
We are about to.
I don't know why I didn't think about going back for the other ones of those. So you got all 400 that you needed in one run, basically. Because then you just need to grab 3 from here.
Out of here. One.
That's insane. That's cool. No, that's even if I can just learn how to do, not even necessarily get to this level, but just to be able to do the time trials, like just a couple of these would save me so much time.
Focus on what?
This video might get a lot of plays in the next month or so as I go level by level, trying to get the time trials. I'm very curious actually for how you do Knuckles stuff super quick. Because I know when you're actually like going... Okay, wait, what? What? You're already to the snowboarding in 36 seconds. That is insane. And you just go and stand next to a wall. Fair enough.
Okay, so it's like Nick.
Yeah, no, that's insane. All right. Well, I'm just gonna say just in case you're not interested in the Final Fantasy stuff, we're gonna do Sonic Adventure again on Monday. So that's crazy though, and that's I'm genuinely so impressed. Like that's awesome. Um, thanks for showing me that. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. But I gotta get going because I got appointments I gotta get to. So have a good one, and I will catch you later.